Hello, welcome to Nannie's fifth part of the Robin family stories. Are you ready for two more exciting stories? I hope so. Do you remember in part 4 that the Robin families were on holiday together and they were enjoying the seaside? Well, today they're still on holiday at the beginning of our stories. So are you sitting comfortably? Then we shall begin. The two Mrs. Robins find that time and tide wait for no one. On the rocks. What are you planning for this afternoon? Mrs. Rock Pipit asked the two Robin families as they finished their lunch in the bright kitchen of the old boathouse. We're off for an afternoon's fishing, said Mr. Robin and Dr. Robbie. And we're sailing over to Lobster Pot Point, added Captain Rock Pipit. We're going to the harbour to look at the boats, chirped Rowley and Richard. And we're going shopping with Priscilla, said Rosemary and Rowena. Well, we've decided to do absolutely nothing except lie in the sun and sunbathe, said the two Mrs. Robins. And you've got a lovely afternoon for it, Mrs. Rock Pipit said as she glanced out of the window at the sunny scene. Mrs. Rebecca Robin and her sister, Mrs. Rosabella, waved everyone off and then, wearing their shadiest hats, strolled down to the beach and settled comfortably on their favourite sunbathing rock. Isn't this lovely, Becky? Said Mrs. Rosabella as she took out her book. It certainly is, agreed her sister, getting out her knitting. But the two Mrs. Robins didn't do much reading or knitting because the sunshine and the soothing murmur of the tiny wavelets soon lulled them off to sleep. Then suddenly they were awakened by a shrill voice calling, "Mummy! Auntie!" And there was Rowena standing on the sand, waving her sand and bucket and her spade. When the two Mrs. Robins looked, they found that the tide had come right in and their rock had become an island. Oh, well, said Mrs. Rebecca, it seems to be paddling time, Rosabella. Thank you very much for waking us, Rowena, she said to her daughter. We ought to have remembered that what time the tide comes in. When we come again, said Mrs. Rosabella, we'll know that time and time wait, even for sunbathers. Well, they don't wait, not even for sunbathers. Well, I hope you haven't been caught out by the tide when you've been to the beach, because it can get a bit dangerous, can't it, if you can't get back again. So you do have to be very careful. Well, in my second story today, the Robins have another rather frightening experience, and this one is called Thunder and Lightning. Shall we find out what happens, yes? Thunder and lightning means plenty of rain to cool everything down. It was a very hot day in the woodlands, and at Miss Olivia Owl's school, all the classroom windows were wide open in order to keep everyone cool. It didn't really work, though, and the teachers and the little pupils were very warm indeed. Phew, gasped Robin, fanning himself with his history exercise book. I wish I were at Sandhopper Bay, paddling in my favourite rock pool. And in her classroom, his sister Rosemary was thinking exactly the same. Even though Miss Olivia Owl was teaching her pupils about the Northlands, with their icebergs and snowfields, no one felt in the least bit cooler. In the garden of Tree Stump House, Mrs. Rebecca Robin had settled in the shade with her magazine, Woodlands Weekly. But she soon began to doze. She woke to hear a voice saying very softly, "Goodness, isn't it hot? I'm sure we're in for a storm." And there was Amanda Grass Snake gliding gracefully out of the long grass. Here she is. She quite made Mrs. Robin jump. Oh, all the same, Mrs. Robin agreed. A storm would certainly cool things down, she said. At that very moment, from across the valley, came the very faintest grumble of thunder. "Indoors, I think," said Mrs. Robin, picking up her magazine. "Would you like a cup of tea, Amanda?" The grass snake shook her head. "Thank you, but I think I'll go straight home," she replied, and disappeared as silently as she had come. In the woodland school, everyone heard the approaching thunder too, and when the rain started to pour down, there was a rush to shut the windows. The grumble of thunder turned to a loud rumble, and the sun hid behind the grey clouds as the lightning flashed. "When I see the lightning, the thunder goes crash, the thunder goes crash, the thunder goes crash. When I see the lightning, the thunder goes crash, and the rain comes tumbling down." Can you sing this? Let's do it. "When I see the lightning, the thunder goes crash, the thunder goes crash, the thunder goes crash. When I see the lightning, the thunder goes crash, and the rain comes tumbling down." Oh dear, the grumble of thunder turned to a loud rumble, and the sun hid behind the grey clouds as the lightning flashed. It was a very noisy thunderstorm, but everyone agreed it was rather exciting if you were safely indoors. When it had passed over and the sun reappeared, everything was so beautifully fresh and cool. It was an ideal time for a gentle stroll, and that was just what Mrs. Rebecca Robin and Amanda Grass Snake did. They did indeed. But how about if we just sing that last song again, shall we? We're having a bit of a storm here in England, actually, where I live. So it's quite applicable for today, I think. No sunshine, just lots of wind and rain. So are you ready to make your storm? If you have sticks, you can bang them, but you can also use your hands to clap, okay, for the thunder and the rain. Ready? When I see the lightning, the thunder goes crash, the thunder goes crash, the thunder goes crash, clap. When I see the lightning, the thunder goes crash, and the rain comes tumbling down. When I see the lightning, the thunder goes crash, the thunder goes crash, the thunder goes crash. When I see the lightning, the thunder goes crash, and the rain comes tumbling down. Well, I hope the sun soon comes out where you are, and I think it might do here too. And then we can go back on the beach again, can't we? Well, thank you so much for joining Nanny today for the 5th instalment of the Robin Family Stories. I wonder what excitement they'll get into next time. Do join me to find out. And if you enjoyed this video, I would really like it if you gave it a like on YouTube. And even subscribe, and then you won't miss the next one that comes out next week. Thank you for joining me. Bye-bye.